Stop what you're doing, put down your coffee, close the other tabs, lock the door. Because what I'm about to tell you is not speculation. It's not theory. It is mathematical certainty wrapped in desperate bank manipulation. On February 8, 2026, the Shanghai Futures Exchange shed 31.3 metric tons of silver inventory in a single day. Just gone, vanished, while a billionaire trader sits on a 450 metric ton makage short against their entire remaining inventory of 318 metric tons. The most dangerous moment is not when a system breaks, it's when the system pretends it didn't break while the blood is still wet on the trading floor. Let me paint the picture for you with laser-sharp specificity. Thursday, February 12, 2026, 90 minutes, that's the entire window. Silver fell from $83 to the low $60, but, and this is where your brain should explode, something impossible happened simultaneously. In New York, COMEX, $80. In Shanghai, $111. In India, $93. In Japan, retail, $120. In Kuwait, $106. A 40% spread between New York and Shanghai, the largest sustained divergence in precious metals history. And I need you to understand what this chasm actually means. When paper crashes and physical holds, it's not a correction, it's a divorce. It's the system admitting defeat. Now ask yourself, why did $3.6 trillion evaporate specifically on February 12th? The answer is calendar warfare. China's banking system, their zombie banks laden with trillions in non-performing loans, reached a breaking point, triggering a flight to physical where Chinese investors panic-bought silver, creating an arbitrage gap where silver traded at a $10 to $15 premium in Shanghai compared to Western exchanges. But here's the killing blow. Nobody in the mainstream media will say. COMEX has 366 million ounces in open interest silver contracts scheduled for March delivery. COMEX does not have that amount in inventory. It only has 102 million ounces available to settle deliveries. Do the math with me. 366 contracts, 102 million ounces. That's a 3.6 to 1 ratio. For every ounce of real silver sitting in the vault, there are 3.6 paper contracts demanding delivery. And here's the terrifying part. They know it. Available positioning data indicates managed money positions had declined significantly from elevated levels through December 2025 and early January 2026 before the crash. Yet silver rallied sharply in early February despite structurally lower speculative interest, confirming supply-driven rather than speculation-driven dynamics. Translation: this wasn't panic selling, this was premeditated liquidation. Now let me show you something that destroys the entire official narrative. In a normal market, arbitrageurs would step in, buy at $80 in New York, sell at $111 in Shanghai, pocket the difference. But there is no difference. The spread isn't closing. Why? Arbitrageurs would normally buy cheaper silver in New York or London and ship it to high-priced markets like Shanghai. But under the current conditions, tight inventories and export constraints, the quantity of silver that can actually be moved is very limited, and arbitrage cannot fully do its job. This is the smoking gun. The traders who would normally execute that arbitrage have looked at the risk and decided it is infinite. They know that if they buy paper silver in New York, they might never get the physical metal to ship to Shanghai. They know the contract they're holding might be settled in cash instead of bars. So they're walking away. They're letting the $31 bill sit on the sidewalk because picking it up requires trusting a system they no longer trust. Here's the date that terrifies the banks. February 27th is the first notice day for COMEX's March silver delivery contract. Open interest in the March 2026 contract remains between 85,000 and 91,000 contracts, representing a theoretical delivery obligation of 425 million to 455 million ounces. That's 15 days away. In 15 days, Every contract holder has to declare whether they're standing for delivery or rolling forward. Even if only 20% of open interest demands physical delivery, a conservative estimate based on historical precedent, COMEX lacks sufficient physical metal to fulfill its obligations. The math doesn't work. It never will. And the banks know it. So they had to crash the price to scare people away from standing for delivery. But here's that destroys their entire strategy. The Shanghai Futures Exchange shed 31.3 metric tons of silver inventory on February 8th, leaving it with only 318.54 metric tons left. Meanwhile, billionaire trader Bian Simin has a 450 metric ton naked short against the total Shanghai 318 metric ton inventory. The exchange inventory is smaller than the single trader's short position. This isn't risk management. This is a system that has already failed. The banks tried to crash sentiment. They thought fear would force sellers. But the physical buyers didn't panic. They did the opposite. Between early and mid-January, in just 7 days, 33.45 million ounces of silver were physically withdrawn for delivery. That meant roughly 26% of COMEX's registered inventory disappeared in a single week. The deficit continues for the 6th consecutive year. Global silver supply has been in persistent deficit for 5 consecutive years, with the 2026 shortfall projected to approach 200 million ounces. On January 1, 2026, while COMEX silver futures showed $72 per ounce, physical bullion dealers in Japan and UAE were selling, when they could find inventory, at $130 per ounce, an 80% premium for physical silver over the official spot price. This has never happened in modern markets. The system didn't break on February 12th. It broke years ago. February 12th was just the day everyone finally admitted it.